Hello everyone, and welcome back to Treasure Earth Metal Detecting. I'm Wayne May, and today we're going to go over some of the basics that I use in my kit for metal detecting. I appreciate the feedback on some of the other videos I was doing. I've got friends asking me about metal detectors, what I use, digging tools, some of the accessories. So I'm going to go over my kit today, and maybe this helps explain a few things. Um, and we'll jump right in. So we'll jump right into the metal detectors. And the one that I use and the one that I've been using the last 10 years is the XPDAIS. Now this one has an 11-inch coil on it. This wasn't standard. I had to upgrade that when I bought it. I got the bigger one because I was doing more open area and I thought the coverage would be better, which really works well. It's collapsible. It's wireless, completely wireless. It's lightweight, and it's just a really tough machine. I've used it, like I said, for over a decade now, and it's still going strong. I'm just amazed at its durability, honestly, for what I've put it through. Now, the XPDAIS comes with a standard control. This is a great control. If you have one of the older ones, there's updates available online, of course. Um, right out of the gate, it's got 9 factory settings, right from basic to wet sand, beach. It's got deep programs. The one that I use lately is the fast program I find in my area, anyways. And the terrain that I'm on, the fast is really good. Um, and it targets everything I need. I can hear the iron signal. It's giving me the tones that I like to hear. Haven't had to tweak it at all. Also, it gives you some settings if you want to put your own programs in. It's got some slots for that. It's very impressive. If you don't have the standard control, you can go with the Deus Lite. These are the headphones. The only thing I find with the headphones is you really have to know your sounds well, because it doesn't give you a target number whereas the controller does. Sometimes though I'll use them if this one goes down on power. I've been out too long and didn't charge it up. Make sure you always charge it the night before if you got a long day. Sometimes I use them in conjunction as well. Uh, when I don't have the sound on here, I'm in a populated area, schools and things like that. Obviously, you want to keep it quiet. Um, Really good for that. I've got another pair of headphones too. It's got a jack for that for some external headphones. But it's really an amazing machine. I've got another coil with it as well. This is a 9-inch coil. Um, this came standard with it at the time, and it works. It works just as well. It's actually pretty good in some of those tighter spots if you're in the forested areas. So, and it's a good backup for me just in case the power runs out on my bigger coil here. Also, I use the XP MI4 pinpointer. This is a great pinpointer. It's durable, waterproof like most of them are. It's really served me well. I've beaten this up, put it through its paces anyways, and it's done really well. So the XP line is really, um, they really focus on being in the field. They've done their research for sure. There's a new one out now, the XP2, the Deus 2, which has more settings. It's completely waterproof. This controller is not waterproof. The new one is. It's submersible. I'm going to say, don't quote me on this, but probably up to 60 feet. Completely underwater machine now. It's fantastic. It's got more settings in it. It's got more options, as you would imagine, over the 10 years. It's going to be a fantastic machine. We'll do a segment on that once I get one. When I first bought this, it came with a backpack. This camouflage one here. This held the machine. It held the second coil as well with the accessories. You can put water in it and things like that. I wanted to upgrade it. I wanted something a little more beefier, a little stronger, so I went to the 280. I bought this one a few years ago now. It can hold the coil with actually another stem, your shovels, your tools, headphones, pinpointer. It's got pockets for all of these things. It's really a really good backpack. what I like about it as well, you can wear it while you're detecting. It doesn't shift around too much, and um, really happy with that. So that's the XPDAIS. This is what I use 99% of the time. I do have a backup. I just bought this one a few months ago at the beginning of the summer. It's the Go Find. This is the MindLab one. It's completely collapsible, as you can see. It's really quite light as well. This one runs on batteries. It's got AA batteries in it, this one, which is a nice feature too, if you don't want to keep charging it all the time. And this is the 44. There's a 22 version and the 66. This has got a few less options, of course, than the 66 and a couple more. They're targeting options than the 22. But it's a great little machine. It actually works really well. I'm really happy with that. Machine certainly, in all the things I'm looking for, it's got some great features in it. I've got a pinpoint as well. This is a MindLab pinpointer. This is the second one I have. And I bought it actually when I bought the XP. The MI4 wasn't available to me at the time, so I bought this MindLab, and it's actually a very good pinpointer. I'm really happy with it. Sometimes I use that instead of the 4 if this one goes down. So basically, there you go. There's the metal detectors that I'm using. They all have their features and their options and personal preferences and things like that. This is my personal preference right here, the XPDAIS. But if you put the hours in and you know the detector and you know the sounds and the signals and the numbers that are coming up, and you can really find some amazing treasures with any detector, actually. So, but this is what I'm using. Let's go into some digging tools. That was a question as well, what I use to dig some of these finds. In the inner city and the schools like that, you don't want to bring a big shovel to that. You want to keep the school grounds and the parks and things like that very, very neat. And just as you showed up, you want to leave it the exact same. And for that, I use this gardening knife. I know there's some spades out there, just gardening tools like this, but I find this gets through some of the harder ground, especially later in the summer where the ground is a bit drier. It's a great knife for that, and I can really pinpoint the location with this detector, so I can make the hole quite small. As I mentioned before, just cut it on the 3 sides, flip it open like a box, and get your pinpointer in there, and you should be able to find the target if you can pinpoint well. That's again going back to your machine and just knowing its settings and how it's reacting to you. I've got this other little shovel. This is a great little shovel. You can see those everywhere. They're in any sort of outdoor store as well. It's got the pick on the back as well, and in softer ground it really works well, and it's obviously pretty compact as well. I can throw this right into the bag and don't have to take a bigger shovel. I've had another extended sort of smaller spade. This is good for some of the parks too. A little easier on the back if you don't want to crouch down, maybe on the knees too. I know that some of the friends are using something very similar to this, and I think they're quite inexpensive. When I was in Arizona, in the desert, and in California, I used this pick. Now this is a great pick. You can buy this at any garden center as well. I like it's durable. It's got the plastic handle on it, and through the desert you're just scraping and digging down with the back here. You don't typically use a shovel, or I did not when I was there. Things like that. When I'm in the bigger fields and the maybe some of the big barn and the ranches that I go to, I'll take this bigger shovel. I bought this about the same time as I bought the Deus, and it's really worked well over the years. It's really a durable shovel. I like the small spade on it, and it actually gets through the roots pretty good, and really makes a nice hole when you're digging that one out. So I use that. So that's some of the digging tools. Hopefully that helps as well. We'll go on to the other parts. Sorry, my table's a little squeaky, so you're going to hear that sound every once in a while. It's not the walls collapsing in, it's just my table. So forgive that. Finder's pouch. Talked about that before. This is the XP finder's pouch as well. It's got a couple of different pockets in it as well if I want to divide whatever I'm finding. And it clips right onto your belt. It's got these nice snaps on the back, or it goes right onto the belt of the backpack as well if I'm using that. That's a really good find bag. I mentioned coins as well. Sometimes I just take a tin like this just for my quick finds. If I'm going out just to a playground or something and it's a lot of small items, I'll just take a little tin like this. It's easy to throw in the pocket. I know that some friends have plastic ones just in case, but your detector shouldn't really be affected by it up in your pocket here. I do have a plastic one as well here. This is a waterproof one for some of those bigger finds maybe, and it's watertight if you're worried about that. This is a great one. It's plastic, of course. That's a great one. And I always recommend taking a Ziploc as well, or a plastic bag with you, just for any of those finds as well. Sometimes I'll take a collapsible backpack if I'm going off and just throwing the detector in there too. So those are a couple of the fine things. Often I just throw it in my pocket as well. Gloves. Gloves are a good idea, especially on those farm and those ranch. Maybe there's a lot of iron. Some of the park I was in the other day on the other video, it was a lot of iron, cans and things like that can be quite sharp. A set of gloves, leather gloves, or the cut resistant ones are always good to have. Other gloves, these are more heavier duty if I'm getting into some of the really big targets. These are more for some of the magnet fishing though, if I'm really hauling in the rope and stuff like that a lot. But certainly have some gloves in your kit, there's no question about it. Always recommend it for sure. I also take a journal with me. This is just a field notepad. This is the waterproof one. It's great to have out there if I want to track the GPS location and some of the finds at that. I think that's a good idea too. Sort of track where you've been, and gives yourself sort of a log of where you've been and the finds that you found at those locations. Always a good idea. Magnifying glass as well. Always good to take with you if you've with some of those smaller finds and coins if you want to find out the dates, things like that. We got chargers as well. Someone asked me as well about maybe charging that. If your pinpointer runs out or your detector runs out, I always like to take this one. There's a lot of brands out there that are obviously power packs. This one, these small ones are great for the controller. They're good for the headphones. They're good for the pinpointer as well. But they struggle a little bit with the bigger coil. And in that, what I do is I take the sort of the larger battery pack with it. This is a solar powered one. That's got a little bit more punch in it. It's okay for the bigger coil, or the smaller one too, for that matter. Like I said, the other one is run on batteries. You might want to bring some extra batteries along. So this is kind of a general coverage of what I do. Now, as far as storage goes, I often store it in this converted rifle case. And everything goes in here. My chargers go in here, my headphones, the coils, the stem, the handle, room for a first aid kit, any finder's pouch, things like that. This is a great case for that. If I'm going out just on a day though, and I don't want to obviously log this thing around, I take this backpack, as I talked about before, which is great. I can put everything in that. But it doesn't have to be a specific XP or a specific brand one, any backpack. But remember to bring the right clothes. I don't have to tell you probably, but rain gear and things like that, always a must for sure. Plenty of water, sunscreen, bug screen if you're going out. And yeah, just be prepared and really you're out there to have fun. So thanks again for joining me on this. Hopefully this clears up any sort of questions you have. If you have any more, obviously send them right to me. Thanks for being with me again and seeing what I use. It's been an absolute pleasure for me to share this with you. And join me next time. What we're going to do is we'll take these things out, these detectors out, we'll go right into the field, and we'll compare them as well, the sounds and how they sound over a coin and over iron and bottle caps, and we'll do a whole test on our next video. Thanks again for joining me. Be safe out there, and good hunting.